Hey everybody, so behind me is that, here's this thing in 2002, Nissan Pathfinder. I did an exhaust on this not too long ago, but it also needs O2 sensors. So I replaced the ones in the lower section of the exhaust. When I replaced the exhaust, I just did basically what you would term a cat back. So there's a converter that's right off the manifold, and then it goes down, and then there's another, it's called a resonator or whatever or something. I've seen it termed different things, but it's kind of converter looking-ish, and then it goes back, and then there's dual mufflers. My shed's making noise. But anyway, I had replaced the downstream O2 sensors when I put everything in because the upper ones are kind of hard to get to. So I finally figured out how to change the passenger side upstream one and where it is, and it's really a pain. I hadn't even looked at the driver's side. I don't want to. Fortunately, the only codes that are being thrown now are for the passenger side. Unfortunately, there's some fortunates and unfortunates here. Fortunately, I was able to change it. Unfortunately, after I changed it, it started throwing a different code. I don't remember what it is. If I look it up, I'll put it on the screen. But basically, it just turns out to like a short in the ground or a short in the sensor circuit or something like that, which wasn't happening prior to the new one being installed. And what I'm going to say is let that be a lesson to me. I had picked up a cheap set of 4 packs of, well, they came in boxes like this. 4 packs of, a 4-pack of O2 sensors. And so the one doesn't work. But anyway, I figured I would take y'all along while I change it out again for a Bosch sensor that I finally bought. And we'll see if that clears the code. But I'll show you how I've been able to get to it and how much of a pain it is. And we'll see how that goes. So it is a bit windy out, sorry about that, but I'm going to turn the camera around and I'll show you where this one's located and then how we go about getting it. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. So if we look down here, you can see way down under there, right where that light is, right there is our O2 sensor. So you can see there's not a lot of room to work in here. So first thing first, we're going to pull the cover off, 10mm bolts, just so we can get to the plug. We don't need to, we can get to this without it, it's just easier. What I do is this heater hose here, this heater core hose, you can kind of bend it back under a little bit just to give yourself a little bit more room. So there you go. The problem is there's still not much room here. And unless you have really small hands, it's really hard to get all the way down in there. And then the problem isn't getting it out. The problem is getting the new one in. So let me grab my sockets and I'll show you what I've been doing. All right, so I don't know how easy this is going to be to see from your vantage point, but I have a swivel. Now I have a 1/2 inch impact gun, so that's why you've got 1/2 inch extensions, but it's a 3/4 inch socket. So obviously this is a spark plug socket. Nope, what's this thing called? O2 sensor socket. So it's got that slip in it, right? So what I end up having to do is if we look right here, we have the cable, the wire that goes to the O2 sensor. So what we want to do is we want to basically lay the socket onto the wire. There we go. And let the wire be the guide to get it down onto. And then you can't really see it from here, sorry, you can kind of see it. So once it's on there, then we can kind of get it down into place. So there we are, now we're on the O2 sensor itself. So that's the easy part, right? We do have to unplug our sensor, otherwise this wire is going to get all tangled up in a hurry. Go ahead and pull this off. Now you can just unhook the sensor here, and then it clips up here. There's a little press clip, you just push that down and this whole thing will slide off, and you unhook the 2 of them. Like so. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that, unhook the battery, and then we'll yank this one out, and then we'll try to fish the new one in there. Okay, so now we're going to throw a ratchet on. I needed to grab another extension because it is a ways down in there. And we're going to see if we can break this thing loose. There we go. So now we're broken loose. Let's pull our ratchet out, leave everything else there. Now again, this wire needs to twist around as the sensor twists. And this is kind of the part you have to take your time with, because if you just wrap it up, then you run the risk of pulling things apart or anything. So it's already starting to twist around, so we're gonna just kind of keep going with it. Untwist it again. Okay, so we're gonna pull our big mess of extensions off. So it's loose down there, but not loose enough that I can just like twist it and get it to come off. The hard part is getting your hand down in to the sensor. My left hand, I can just touch the top of the sensor, but I can't get a hold of it. So my method of attack is to come from the other side with my right hand down. So move the camera and hopefully you'll be able to see somewhat. Okay, so basically what I've been doing is coming in from this side and reaching down this way. The problem is that even a thin glove and a thin jacket is still enough to prevent my hand from getting all the way down in there. But there we go. Just like that. Oops, I caught the wire. There we go. So this is the new one that we just put on. The funny part is there's nothing wrong with it, but it's throwing a code. So in the bin it goes. So let's grab the Bosch one we have, and we'll put that down in there. Okay, here's our new Bosch. Here's the part number on it, 15343, and all the other numbers in case you need it. And again, this is for bank 1, upstream. Bank 1 being this side, upstream being, well, this one we're getting to. The other side is bank 2. I haven't even looked, and I don't want to. But again, since this is the only side throwing a code, it's the only one I'm worried about right now. Now, the tricky part of this is getting it back down into the opening that you can't see. Right there. And part of that is because what happens is I'm trying to fish this down through, the wire will get caught on my hand, like, and wedged between something, and makes it impossible to then turn the actual O2 sensor. But this is the hardest part for me, is just getting the sensor back down, lined up, getting the wire out of the damn way, so you can then attempt to thread it in. Oh, there we go, we got it. Trying to thread it in as far as I can, but as you thread it, the wires twist. So you want to either take your time and back off, or once you get done, make sure you've untwisted everything from the clip. So now we just need to fish our socket, and I'm trying to do this backwards because I can't see. But we're trying to basically do the same thing, where we fish this down into place, the same way we got the old one out, by using the wire as a guide. There we go, to get this to go down on, like that. Let's go ahead and snug this back up. And there we go. Now the other problem I had with doing this the first time was that same thing as this one here. There we go. It got kind of hung up, and then it didn't not. See, that's the problem. The rest of it doesn't want to come with it. And then you start dropping parts, gosh darn it, down into the engine bay or down under the exhaust, and it gets really frustrating. So I've got it off the sensor now. Don't drop it, don't drop it, don't drop it, don't drop it. There we go. So we've got it in there, snugged up. Now we just need to fish our wire up under through these other wire looms, clip it onto our bracket, plug the plug in until it clips. So there we go. It's in there. We're going to go ahead, put the top back on, hook our battery back up, reset the codes, and then hopefully that's all it needs now. I do have this little scan tool. I bought this probably going on close to 7 or 8 years ago off Amazon or wherever. It's worked fine. I use this with the Torque app on my phone. So we're going to put that back in there, just like so. And then we're going to start the car. We're going to do a screenshot on my phone, so hopefully this works. If not, I'll talk through it afterwards, but hopefully this works and you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so with my Bluetooth adapter plugged in, we're going to go ahead, start the car, start Torque, and we're going to let it run. So it's got to get our connection. So we're connected to Bluetooth. That's a little BT thing, and the car is just waiting on connection. That's why it's blinking. There we go. You can usually tell because the tachometer on the screen will start. So you have real-time information. Now, this is a new phone, so all my formatting's wrong, but if you needed to check things like your monitors, you can do that with Torque, all that fun stuff. There's better guides out there than what I'm going to do. So we're going to go to fault codes. We're going to scan for faults. That 0031, heater control circuit low, bank 1 sensor 1. Well, guess what? That's an O2 sensor. 1148, closed loop control, bank 1. Again, this is all passenger side. That's why we're replacing the passenger side. So now what we're going to do, we're just going to let it finish scanning. Now some cars, including this one, you need to actually turn the car off to clear it. So you turn the engine off, but leave the key in the on position, and then clear faults. Sometimes it takes a minute to reconnect. There we go. So we've reconnected. Go back to our fault codes. We've already scanned it, so we're just going to clear the ones that we already know are there. Click on OK. And exit. All right, so codes are cleared. Let's go ahead and turn the car back on. Let's turn the camera around. Check engine light. Service engine soon is normally down there. Gone. So we're going to do that. Now what I like to do is I like to let it run for a little bit, and then I rescan to see if anything happens. All right, so we're reconnecting to Torque. This is with the engine running again after we've cleared the codes to see if anything current pops up. Here we go. So far, so good. And there we go. No faults. In real time, monitors are all not set now because we had just replaced everything and we cleared everything. So the basics are there, but the rest of it needs to have its drive cycles completed. So there we have it. Fingers crossed that the codes stay away. We won't know until a couple drive cycles go through and whether or not it comes back. Although the last time, after we had cleared it, the code would come back on immediately. We'll keep our fingers crossed. That's how you change the Bank 1 upstream O2 sensor in a O2 era Nissan Pathfinder with the 3.5. Thanks for watching.